Good morning. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Marilyn Orr, President of the club, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV, as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel and Facebook. Our club meets weekly using this digital platform, Zoom. When we meet in person, it's at Laurel Lake Retirement Community for breakfast. We hope to get back to that soon. We meet most Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. So come out to join us for a meeting. We would love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact we are having on our local community and the world, please visit our website, rotaryhudson.org. So enjoy this meeting today and help us share the message that Rotary opens doors of opportunity.
Good morning, Rotarians, and yes, once again, is that too loud? Good morning, Rotarians. Once again, Andy misspoke. The Sergeant of Arms is here. The acting Sergeant of Arms, Rich Warfield. Ron is on vacation again this week, and he'll be back next week. You want everybody to know he misses you, okay? So anyway, I think today we have Mr. Herman is going to do our prayer. So thank you, Phil. If you want to do it in the aisle there, or you can come up,
Good morning. Let us pray. Good morning, Lord. As Rotarians, Lord, we come to you with grateful hearts that today is a new day, chance for a new start, and again, a new opportunity to love, to give, to serve, and to become all that you want us to be. Lord, over the coming week, we ask for your wisdom as individuals and as a community. We ask that you grant us the wisdom to make good decisions. We ask that you grant us the wisdom to know how to address challenges. We ask that you grant us the wisdom to know when to speak up and when to simply listen. And we ask that you grant us the wisdom in our choices to model for our children and our grandchildren how to interact with others, even when we disagree. Lord, help us remember that every day is an opportunity to demonstrate the wisdom you have granted us. Together we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Phil. And now for the four-way test and the Pledge of Allegiance, we have Brother Joe.
For the four-way test, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is it the truth? Is it fair concern? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. All right, before we get into bringing up our president, we have a bunch of forms and checks that were dropped off this morning. If anybody else has their forms or checks for the fall fundraiser, please see either Patrick, myself, or Marilyn Orr. Our great and powerful treasurer for the Hudson Foundation is scuba diving this week, so she's unavailable. Hopefully she'll be here next week. So Patrick, would you like to come on up? And I have no bad jokes like Patrick normally has.
Thank you very much, Rich, for filling in for Ron. So our quote to start the day: whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Henry Ford. Special thanks to Ben Rexroad, Joe Avella, and Jay Yard for joining me for a beer for the Pints for Polio on Sunday. We had a great time. And watched that team from Green Bay beat up on that other team while we were there too. We're going to have our Santa on the Green expert, Ed Sogan, come up and share some information on Santa on the Green.
For some additional football news, Hudson came in second to Stowe last Friday night. The final score was 22-21 in a great game at Stowe. We head into the playoffs. We're going to be playing Ashtabula Lakeside on Friday night here in Hudson at 7 o'clock. All the tickets are online at ohsaa.org. This is a state-sponsored game, so it goes through the Athletic Association from the state. So good luck to the Explorers, and hopefully, again, can bring home a victory and go on in the playoff situation. Santa on the Green's coming up. We have the sign-up sheet today. As we pass it around, the shifts are 2-hour shifts. And as you sign up, once again, we'll have reminders throughout this month as we go toward the end of November. We'll be gearing up in regards to that particular event. We're going to take all the safety precautions that are necessary for Mr. and Mrs. Claus and also for the families that visit. We have 120 families that come over the period of the event, and it starts at 9 in the morning and it concludes at 3 p.m. We have set up and the tickets available starting at 8 o'clock at the gazebo. So we're looking forward to that. And once again, we appreciate all the help in the past. It's a great event. It's a fun event for everybody. We pass out hot chocolate and candy canes, and we have the families that a lot of them have been coming for years and years and years. This is a tradition that goes back probably over 50 years. So a great event. The last thing I wanted to mention, and Jay wanted me to mention this, go Browns. Thank you.
That would be more appropriate for next week, I think, but we'll let that one go. Our district service project, originally last week, I said it was November 16th. It is November 20th. So it is Saturday, November 20th. There's a sign-up sheet out at registration. We'll be doing tree planting at Wood Hollow. There are 2 time periods available. Shift 1 is from 10 a.m. to 12:30. And the second shift is from 12:30 to 3:30. Please bring your own work gloves so that otherwise everything else will be provided. Our district 2021 Foundation Gala is November 11th at Windows on the River in Cleveland. It's a social with ugly sweater contest. If you're interested, go to the District 6630 website to register. As Rich mentioned, our fall fundraiser is on. Reminder that we're asking all Rotarians to make sure to net the club at least $100 in proceeds for this. And this goes to fund a good portion of the scholarships that we give to our graduating seniors. So this is an important project for us to make sure we do what we need to do for our community. Something that we're going to be starting next week, and we need everybody to pay attention to this one. In honor of Veterans Day next month, our club will be collecting socks, men's underwear, and baseball caps for Valor Home in Kent. You can bring your donations in starting next week. The last day for collection of items will be November 17th. So if you, as you're out shopping and you can think of, if you could pick up any one of those 3 items, those are the 3 items that they have are in most demand. So please bring those into our next coming couple meetings, and we'll take care of getting them to Valor Home. John Adams, would you come up and introduce our speaker for today? Yes.
There was something on our website about needing help at Ellsworth.
Oh, yes, we have a cleanup coming up on Saturday at Ellsworth. Marilyn, what time are we starting? 9 a.m. at Ellsworth Elementary School, our pollinator garden. It's time to do the fall cleanup. So if anybody's interested and is available this Saturday morning at 9 a.m., should be about an hour to hour and a half long project. It's just the annual fall cleanup of pruning everything back and doing those kind of things. So if you're available at this Saturday at Ellsworth at 9 a.m., we'd appreciate you being there.
Good morning, Rotarians. So wrapping up our speaker program on entrepreneurship, it's my honor and excitement, quite honestly, to introduce you to my friend, David Thorne. But first, a little bit about David. For those of you that follow Sarah and I on social media, you'll know that we like to travel. And we've really enjoyed going throughout Europe and enjoying increased appreciation for the classic artists of names like Michelangelo, Vincent van Gogh, Rembrandt, Monet. And then when we were in Barcelona the other year and really had a chance to appreciate Antoni Gaudi's works on Sagrada Familia and Park Güell, I really had an appreciation for, the main attention to detail that they took in their work and these amazing works that they created for us all to enjoy. And that brings me to the introduction I have of my friend David Thorne, because I swear he's identical to all those people in every single way in the work that he does. So let me share with you his bio. Began his professional career after graduating with honors in 1989 with a degree in architecture and environmental design. Upon graduation, David joined the staff of KA Architects in Cleveland as a senior site designer and tenant coordinator. He was responsible for designing office, tower, and shopping center sites throughout the country. Not really your thing, David. In 1995, DTR Associates was born when the Breezewood Gardens landscape department was sold to David and a partner. Completing the sale in 2003, David Thorne became the sole owner of DTR Associates and the lead, the traditional design build company, until 2018. Since then, David modified his business model to be more design-centric, to focus his energy on what he loves most, design and client relations. David travels nationally, designing and leading a team of project managers to create truly one-of-a-kind custom landscapes for some of the finest properties in the country. In September, David completed the purchase of the former Dancora Winery site in Aurora. After years of garden additions, renovations, and a major expansion that was completed in 2020, the facility now showcases the quality and creativity of DT design while providing a beautiful, intimate setting for ThornCreek's upscale weddings, corporate functions, and miscellaneous special events. It's an amazing property. I would really encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. Throughout David's career, he's been very involved in many professional and nonprofit organizations, where he's been on the executive board and served as president for the Aurora Chamber of Commerce and the Ohio Landscape Association. Over his 30-year career, David's been honored with numerous local and national awards, as well as been featured in coffee table books and magazine covers, and been recognized as the Business of the Year. There's so much more I could go on about my friend David Thorne, but I'm going to let him tell you the rest. So with that, please welcome my friend David Thorne.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. When John asked me to speak today, I took a big gulp because it's hard to articulate what I've done over the last 30 years in both of my businesses and what I've tried to accomplish by combining my two loves of food and wine and beautiful gardens and creating beauty. And so I tried to be creative over the years to combine both businesses that would allow both businesses to grow, would allow both businesses to help each other, particularly in times of the downturns in the economy. And so I've really tried to think outside the box through this whole journey. So I'm going to get into my talk, and bear with me because technology is not my strength. So. All right. All right. So my topic today is adapting to the changing times, and I think for anyone that's been a business owner or a manager, it's all about adaptation in life. It's not. So I put together a list of 13 items that I call my ingredients for success over the years. And a lot of these ingredients are things that you all have done in your own world, but these are the things that I can say have worked really well for me. And I'm going to just go through the list, and then what I've tried to do for the talk today, if you can imagine this list throughout my talk, you'll understand how I've sort of used these strategies for my business adaptation over the years. So the first one is the constant analysis of my businesses as they relate to the changing times of the economy, the available workforce, industry competition, and personal goals, and focusing my businesses on my strengths, and hiring a strong team that fills in for my weaknesses while making sure their roles also play to their strengths. And then hiring based on attitude, drive, and personality. And I'll pick someone that has very little experience in life over someone that with a great attitude over someone that has a lot of experience with a bad attitude. So there's certain things you can train, and I've always been the believer in believing in people's true personality and core attitude to be the value when I'm hiring. And then also, when I hire, I make it very clear that I'm going to cross-train you for various roles, and that's a selfish part on my being, but also it's also to help the employee grow. And what that has done is it's allowed me to, again, keep my business running lean during those rough times in the economy by having a controller that manages both businesses, having a marketing person that does marketing for both businesses, and having even clerical staff and office staff doing multiple things for both businesses. So the other thing is finding my niche for both businesses, not trying to be everything for everyone, but really finding that core but anyway, finding those the things that really make me tick and that I can sort of build a business model around, I've done. And then obviously thinking outside the box every day. I'm constantly forced to think outside the box. And you know, the COVID experience for all of us who have owned businesses has certainly been something I never imagined I would have to deal with, but had to really think outside the box during that time period to stay afloat. And then I think this number 8 for me was a life lesson early on in my career, that it's okay to decline work when it's not the right fit. And what I realized that allowed me to do was really build on the things that were the right fit, which is a much more fun thing to work with people that you feel connected to, but also not be wasting time on folks that are not the right fit. And then embracing change. As a business owner, change is something that you're guaranteed for sure. And if you don't embrace it and try to plan for the future, you're going to be left behind. And then staying ahead of the competition. And this is one that has been a journey that I've had to sort of handle all my life. I've had a lot of copycatters in my life, and one in particular of recent has been a challenge, but sort of utilizing the principles here to just forge ahead and not get caught up on negative things, but just to move forward and do what I do and not worry about others. And then proper business and personal planning. This is obviously key for anything in life, is to have a proper plan. And when I'm meeting clients for my landscape architecture business, I always say that plan is really the foundation for everything. Without a plan, we don't know where we're going. So I've used this very strongly in both my businesses and personal and professional life. And then 12 is taking risks. If you're a business owner, you took a risk to start your business, but that's probably the smallest risk, and is that first step. But every day to me has been these risky decisions and being bold to make decisions. And then last one, which I think is super important, and John hit on this, is really preserving personal downtime to explore your own passions. And to me, without having that downtime to recharge, I can't be successful for the rest of the year. So I'm going to get into my talk. So can we just switch to the next slide? Okay. So what I've tried to do, I think pictures say everything. So I have a bunch of slides moving forward that are really all picture heavy. And it is an example of, for me, how I've been able to really adapt to change since I started my business journey in 1995. Okay. And then, so in 95, I started this business model with a former colleague of mine, Terry Reese. And we, I really pushed this journey to get established in the industry. So I figured out there was this niche opportunity for me to do feature gardens throughout the country. And I was in some competition gardens just to try it out, and had been successful for about 7 consecutive years at winning the show. And the show came to me and said, you can't enter the show anymore. So, but they offered another opportunity for me, which was a much better prize, which was doing feature gardens for the show, which I got paid to do. And that was the much bigger reward. And this was an outside the box opportunity, because most of my competitors were either laying their employees off during the winter or snow plowing, which I never did and never cared to do. So I was able to build these displays throughout the country. And you can, and these are just examples of, you can go on to the next one. All right, so these are just examples of displays that I built in a warehouse off-site throughout the winter months, and then I would have my team number each board, each stone, whatever it was that we're installing, and we had about 7 days to install these entire displays. So it was quite intense, but truly an example of how you have to have a master plan for things to play out right. Next one. So just, you can keep going. So this is, example of, building full structures, full scale models. And we, on this particular design, we had 4 days to install this. So it was an incredible, thing to pull off, because the day before this, it was the car show at the IX Center. And, 5 days later, this is what we were showcasing. So in 2005, I sort of deployed those skills and started on my own journey of business ownership by myself, and really making the connections, or utilizing the connections that I made, building my reputation, and started working with some of the finest homes in the country. And this is a project that, it was a 45-acre project, and the client wanted this whole spa-like retreat experience. Next slide. And just examples of what I did for someone in the back. This was just a field when I came, and what we were able to accomplish. Next one. So created a golf course on his property and greens throughout, and it was just a really fun project to be a part of. Next. So then in 2005, I got this harebrained idea that my life wasn't busy enough. And so decided to take on this idea, since I was no longer doing the home and flower shows or botanical gardens for the New York Botanical Garden, Chicago Botanical Garden, that sort of shtick was over. I went down this course of buying this winery that initially thought was going to just be a winery, turned into my offices and a botanical garden, but decided to keep it as a winery and allow both of my client base to enjoy both businesses. And so it was a very rough building. I spent 2 solid years renovating the property. Keep going. And actually, in 2005, moved my design offices to the winery temporarily until I could build out the offices. Next one. And that left picture is a garage space that I converted into a design studio. Next one. Keep going. And so literally just carved out the site, basically designing and building everything on, it's close to 9 acres. And so pretty much started from scratch, built this production facility for my team and equipment. Keep going. And that sort of is a good example of what it looked like. And then next. And then in 2006, formalized the LLC for ThornCreek Winery and Gardens and moved into the DTR design offices. Next. You can just flip through. And these are just some examples of the finished product for the first phase. And just keep flipping through as I'm talking here. So the great thing about what has transpired over the years is just this opportunity for both businesses to play with each other in terms of referrals. And when a client comes to eat dinner at the winery, the idea was when a guest might ask, who did the landscaping, then my team could say, well, our sister company, DTR Associates, did the landscaping. So over the years, it has been a great blessing in terms of referrals and just allowing both businesses to benefit from each other. So pause at the next one. So over the years, basically what I did was just refine my craft and really started being quiet within myself to say, what is it that I want to do for the next chapter? As my career was sort of molding and growing, I realized that time is the most valuable thing that we all have. So I wanted to start doing what I love to do best, which is the design and the creation. And then also really looking at the economy and seeing how hard it is to find labor and good craftsmen. So I, in 2018, made this bold move to change my business model completely. Instead of doing all the in-house construction myself, I ended up subcontracting out pretty much all my work moving forward. I kept a group of design folks and support people to help project manage, but went from a 45, 50 person company to a 5-person company in 1 year. So it was a super bold move, but what that allowed me to do is really do these custom creations. The sketch on the side was the example of what I was going to do for this client, and the picture on the left is the reality of that install. And again, really just trying to think outside the box and respond to what was happening in the world in terms of labor. Next. And these are just examples of projects that I started taking on in a more collaborative effort, with me doing all the design and construction drawings and my team managing other folks that aren't quite my employees. So doing historical preservation projects. Next. To very modern projects. Next. To, very traditional projects. And in 2019, due to this competition that I was having with a local landscaper who also built a winery and basically named his winery very close to ThornCreek Winery and Gardens, except the first part of the creek. Everything else in his name is exactly my name, and even the text was my font for my text. So he took literally pages of my website and plastered them onto his website. And so, I had attorneys coming to me saying, you need to sue, this is not right, this is all intellectual property. And I, sat with it for a little while, and I just said, I need to focus my energy on positiveness. So I will just rebrand myself. And at that time, I used that as an opportunity to co-brand both businesses. And you can sort of see the connection there, this with the T sort of flipping in and using the C and the D with the Thorn sort of graphic. Next. And so in 2019, I changed the business model for ThornCreek. And again, if you're connecting the dots to sort of my ingredients early on, change is a common theme here. Being open to new ideas is a theme. And so ThornCreek's business model changes. Next. To more of an event-focused brand. So we do everything from small corporate events to large corporate, Nestle, Swagelok, 300-person events, to bridal showers of 10 to sit-down dinners of 150. Next. Sorry. Just keep going. Sorry. All right. So in 2020, right before COVID breaks out, I decide I'm going to do this huge addition, not realizing what was coming my way. So in February 15th, 2020, I broke ground. This is a hand sketch that I did that was the basis for what I wanted the building to look like. Next. And so the idea here was to keep going, continue to do large scale events and change my model from dining business, 80% dining to 80% event business and 20% dining. And that's what we're currently doing. And these are just images as this thing is unfolded. Keep going. Of sort of the after of that original model. So I think the building is a true example of how, we've sort of initially put lipstick on a pig, changed that, and really molded this into something I'm super proud of, and how if I were stuck in the past, worried about my competition, I'd be in a totally different place than I am today. So I think it's just, having a positive attitude and just thinking outside the box. We partner with, during the COVID, this is an example, the ballet couldn't perform anywhere. So I had the ballet come to ThornCreek. And so it was a great time in a lot of ways, because people were coming together in very unique, crafty ways. And so I reached out to the ballet and I said, hey, you can come here and perform. And we did, I think, 6 or 7 performances. And then we did some spring performances. And now they're back back at Playhouse Square, but it was a great sort of run with them. But again, just an example of thinking outside the box. Next. And then, today, we've had in 2021, both businesses, we've had record-breaking years. The winery itself, we're booked. We've done 90 weddings since May. And we have equally as the amount next year. And these are just examples of, different setups for different events we had. And then DTR, this is an example of a project I'm designing right now. It's a 35,000 square foot house in Hunting Valley, and doing all the site work, designing every square inch of the space. And that's a huge parking court with walls and just crazy details. Just, examples of little elements that are going to be used on that site, and hand drawings that I did, turning into CAD drawings, turning into models of a different project, but, really working on some fun, interesting projects. Keep going. And truly, just keep flipping through. And this is a local Hudson property. And then just, if you could pause there for a second. So, it's been a little quirky trying to pause and move these slides. So I appreciate you being patient with me today. But I think, at the end of this, the future is super bright for DTR or DT design. I'm still training myself on that. And ThornCreek Winery and Gardens. But I think the journey has been worth it. As a business owner, there's nothing more gratifying to see your fruits of labor grow and continue to blossom. It's very much, I always say, having these businesses, I have two sons. It's like having, two more sons, watching them grow and develop and mature over the years. But, I say in the next slide, if you can, it's all not worth anything if you can't enjoy life along the way. So these are just images of pictures I've taken of my travels that I'm going to leave you with, that are little pictures just taken. If you can pause for a second. There's a memory in every one of these photographs. So this was a memory with my son in a little cathedral in Cinque Terre, watching the sunset, hearing a Catholic priest sing services in Latin, and it was just my son and myself with this beautiful view in the background. And so just, to me, traveling is my thing, and I get so much, I gain so much knowledge and learning, not only about other people, but about myself. So next slide. I was just going to leave with one great slide, which is yeah, next one, please. To me, like, this says it all. This is a sunset from my favorite spot in Florence. Take a hunk of pecorino cheese, a bottle of fine Italian wine, and I would do that many a nights. So I go to Italy and Florence, stay in the same flat for 2 or 3 months during the winter months, and just explore life and sleep in when I want to sleep in, and go to a cafe when I want to go to a cafe, or cook at home. But my favorite thing to do is watching sunsets, whether it's in Florence or in my backyard. So I think it's super important as a business owner to take those moments, whether it's traveling or with your kids, or if you're an avid runner, doing those things to have that important downtime. So I'm going to close with this. Thank you so much for having me. Sorry about the little technical difficulty. It sort of threw a wrench in the way the presentation felt, but I hope you took a few things away from today. Thank you.
Are there any questions for David? Father Joe.
Thank you, David. I really appreciate it. First of all, I'm a little embarrassed that you show all those photos of the Holy Trinity Church Rectory. You know, I live in luxury and that's just the way it is. Yeah. My question has to do with like when you go from design to actually implementing that, you know, there's like paths where big land movers are out there and then, you know, there's layers upon layers of all this, you know, planting and so on. How much, when you go from like the design to where the actual implementation of the work, how much is you involved in doing that?
I'm on site every day.
Yeah.
So if I'm working on a project, you know, literally I'm there in the morning, in the afternoon and evening, depending on what's going on. There might be days where I'm only there once, but setting grades, establishing those with the engineers, making on-site adjustments, which they're always, you know, it always happens. So to me, a big part of having a successful design is having the person that, you know, came up with the vision for the project be there sort of implementing along the way. Without it, you know, you get other people taking lines on a piece of paper for what they want it to be. And so particularly in landscape architecture, there's a lot of opportunity for interpretation. So I might, like if I'm designing enormous alley of trees, I may want the last two trees to have more branches on them to create an archway for that last thing. Very hard to articulate that in a drawing when it's a growing living thing that I've got to go to a nursery somewhere or a field and hand pick these trees. I want to make sure, you know, I'm down to, you know, if I'm doing an alley and there's 75 trees, I'll number the trees in which order I want them to be. And then even to the point at which side I want it to be showing. So it's just super detail oriented, and oftentimes people won't understand the difference between a project. They'll say it's beautiful. I love the way it feels, but I always say, you know, anybody can be good. It's hard to be really great at something. So really take it seriously, and that's how I do that.
I appreciate it.
Am I on? Very good. So first of all, I enjoyed that very first picture of that huge of John Adams' second home over there. So, but what are some of your influences? I assume people like Olmsted, but you know, maybe some of the other ones.
I would say Ellen Biddle Shipman is a famous turn of the century landscape architect. She did the gardens at Stan Hewitt, the lower garden there. And I recently was fortunate enough to be commissioned for a property in Cleveland Heights that was a 10-acre property that of a house that was falling in disrepair, and this lovely couple bought it. And I had worked with this couple years and years ago. Excuse me saying it. Every time I was drawing on this property, I kept saying, I feel like Ellen Biddle Shipman is sitting on my shoulder. I feel like Ellen Biddle Shipman is sitting on my shoulder. And I end up going to an ARB meeting to Cleveland Heights, and there was very little history that I could find on the place. And it came down to this historian was at this meeting, and he said, well, Ellen Biddle would be super proud of you. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, did you know Ellen did the gardens here? And then he showed me these historical garden photographs, and they were almost identical to what I did. So I felt like, okay, you know, it's crazy how you can find someone that you admire, and when you read and you explore their gardens, it just sort of absorbs in you. And so she would be someone that I would say is my biggest influence.
Thanks for coming, David.
Well, thank you.
I'm fascinated by one aspect of your business model when you changed from contracting all your help. How did you maintain quality it looks like you have when now all of a sudden you go from your employees to contracting others, especially if you have to go far away?
Yeah, so I think, thank you for that question. And I think if anything, my quality got better, because as a business owner, you need to keep your people busy. So you have a team of, I'm making this up, 10 people, and everyone has their strengths, but sometimes the projects you sell aren't the strengths of your people, but you still have to put it in the ground. So you're coaching and training, different folks to, if someone's really great with masonry, but we only have planting projects, well, you're going to be planting today when you have certain people. In my role now, and this model, I'm able to handpick the best of the best of the best. And then the biggest challenge is working out schedules, which I have a bulldog person in the behind the scenes office that handles all of that for me. And so it's actually worked out better. And because I don't have the overhead of keeping someone busy year round, I can offer a price point that's it matches or even a little less than what I was charging. So it's worked out very, very well. And it's also allowed me to pick and choose projects a little better based on what I know people's backlog is. So the people that work for me, work with me in the subcontracting sort of arena, I work with them so much, they're almost like my employees. I just don't have to guarantee them work. So it works really well.
Thank you very much, David. We're running out of time.
No time.
Sure, Jay, you can make one comment. Sure.
David, I've been to ThornCreek Winery for dinner many times, and I just love the setting, and so do my kids. But my question is, Rotary is undertaking a renovation of the Scout Cabin on Main Street. Have you ever been involved with a project like that? Or any thoughts you have on how we might proceed? It's somewhat deteriorating in terms of the chinking and the roofing and so on. And if we've run out of time, you can answer me later.
Yes, we might do that one offline so that we can.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jay, for getting our speaker involved in our Scout Cabin project potentially. So you articulated what I was thinking, so we appreciate that. So just a couple of reminders. We have our November service project for Valor Home. So we're collecting the socks, men's underwear, and baseball caps. So start bringing those into our meeting next week. Remember to sign up for a shift for the tree planting and for Santa on the Green. If you didn't get the Santa on the Green sign up form, it's up front. The service project for our cluster project is out at registration. We have our Rotabuck raffle, and we have a huge payout of $9. And we'll have Marilyn pick. And the winning lotto ticket is 716-785. 716-785. Father Joe. All right. You can pay for all those renovations at the rectory. Here. There's your envelope. All right. Black marble's in there. You see it? Oh, no black marble, no big payout, but and donation back. All right. Thank you very much, Father Joe. One last reminder is next week, Tuesday, is election day. And we spent 6 weeks meeting the candidates for school board and for city council. And it's our civic responsibility to get out and vote. No matter which candidate you vote for, it's our job as citizens to get out and vote. So I challenge all of us to get out and vote and participate, because we get the elected officials we deserve. So let's get out and vote. And with that, the joke of the day, because we kind of hit the weather wall this past week. What do you call an old snowman? Water.